Welcome to the Republic Forum. I'm Jeff.
Ding, ding, ding. I'm Tom.
And we are live. We're both here. How was the golf game? You left early the other day, Thursday. How'd it go? You lost.
Not good.
Not good.
No, I did okay. My partner was lousy.
Oh, okay.
I hope he's listening. He usually does.
Anyway.
And he keeps asking me to ask this question.
Sure.
And I keep forgetting about it when we have the public officials from town in here.
Yep.
The graffiti all over the place, especially down in Plains Road. When are they going to clean it up in town?
I would imagine it would take a pressure
So I
washer
asked.
and a little bit of...
And the volunteers, right?
Yeah, well, they
So
could
that's what he
volunteers
should actually do, is volunteer to go down there and clean it himself.
Or send PW down there to do it.
I'll wait for his little ding here pretty
Yeah,
soon.
he's a ding. He's not going to ding you. Why would he ding you? I mean, he doesn't care. He's gone.
My golf partner.
James Spillano?
No, not that one. No,
The
sorry.
one that just left?
Yeah. There you go. James, you mean our new town manager?
Our new town manager?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, he's a nice guy.
He's a wonderful guy. I'm sure he'll do a great job. You know, like we had said last week, he knows the town. He knows the people. He's definitely laid back enough so that, you know, if you want to go in and you want to talk to him or something like that, he's there.
Yeah. So we're waiting for a phone call, right?
Yes, we are.
From a guest.
Yes.
All right. So we will be taking a phone call as soon as he calls in. It could be him now.
Hi, I'll put you on hold and I'll patch you through, okay?
And I would say that this is the person.
Very
You
well
know?
could be. My phone's aren't.
Well, so
Well, they work on that.
so Jim is going to get right on to the problems that's going on over here at the senior center over here with the swimming and stuff at the rec center with all these people that can't swim in the morning.
Really?
I figured, the town manager didn't do anything about it because he
Well,
said,
it's not his job.
well, he oversees everything.
Well, yeah, but
The
he's
board
got,
members,
doesn't he
people
have,
are complaining.
Doesn't he have
You know?
somebody that's supposed to be managing that? I mean, that's one of the things he does is delegate. I'm not going to bother him for the people that can't swim.
Yeah, no, I get it. Look, the town manager said he has his people out there. He's not going to put his finger on everybody, and they're going to run it the way it's supposed to be. And if it's something that's not running right, but I will say to you is that some of the stuff that some of the town, I don't, what do you call them now? They're not selectmen, but the council members have found that the swimming is not doing what it was doing before.
Okay.
And the open swim has gone up a little bit, but the
You
people.
mean price-wise or
Nah,
not the people?
they stopped an open swimming for most of the seniors that were early morning so that they could put the lap swimmers in.
Yep.
But I guess there's not a lot of lap swimmers that are coming down. So instead of maybe having 15 people at the pool, and I'm only using as numbers,
Yep.
you now maybe have 4 or 5.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
I could see that.
Right.
Just like at home.
Hi, can you hear me?
Whatever my weight continues to be, it's not good enough.
Can you hear me?
I always get the second piece of that.
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
hi, this is
But-
Matt from WIL.
but,
How are you?
So what else is going on?
Not a whole lot. There's
Can you hear me?
I've been going. I go up and down 66, and there's been a lot of
How are you?
what do you call it? Construction down in Heber, and they certainly can't make a mess of an intersection down there. But
Thank you.
Columbia, everything's just moving along quite nicely.
Okay, so
And,
we do have our caller that just called in.
All right. Hello, caller. You're on the air. I'm Jeff.
Hi, this is Ari Schaefer calling from Greater Hartford for Israel.
Hi, Schaefer. This is Tom White. I'm the other host that's on here. And my understanding is that you do some type of a walk or a bicycle type thing for awareness?
Yeah, every week, Sunday mornings in West Hartford, right in the center of town, we do a march to bring awareness to the hostages that are still held in Israel. Over 100 of them are still being held by the terrorist group Hamas, including 8 Americans, 5 of whom are still believed to be alive. So we do it every week just to remind the people who are being held hostage that we haven't forgotten about them, and to bring awareness to our elected officials who, it seems don't mention these hostages enough, particularly the Americans.
Oh, the news media is definitely lacking on talking about what's going on with the hostages. Evidently, they just found one.
Yeah, I think they released one yesterday that they found, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they rescued them rather than released.
Yeah, I would say rescued them. They found them in some type of a tunnel by themselves, I believe.
Yeah, they rescued them from the tunnel. There are miles and miles of tunnels underneath Gaza where the terrorists hide their rockets, and apparently they keep the hostages. And the Israeli army, I think about 18 to 20 soldiers went in, recovered, I think, Farhan Al-Qadi, I think his name is. He's a Muslim, Arab, Bedouin, lives in Israel, and the Israeli army went in and pulled him out of there. So thankfully, they were able to rescue one more hostage alive.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Now, your walks in West Hartford, what time do they start, and where do they start from, if people want to join?
Yeah, sure. I appreciate the question. And thanks so much for having me. So every Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m., the Bishop's Corner Library. Anyone who'd like to join, share their voice. We've had about 100 people a week. We've had some elected officials stop by, so that's been encouraging. But we'll take whoever we can just to make sure these people aren't forgotten. We've had friends who have gone to Israel and met with families of hostages, and showed them pictures of our marches, told them we'd do these marches every week, and I can tell you that the families of the hostages are encouraged and strengthened to know that there are people who haven't forgotten about their family members.
Well, no, that's excellent. Now, the number of people you get on the marches, what if there was an average, what would you say it is?
Between 75 and 100. We've gotten as many as 125, 130. Usually the minimum is about 75 to 80, so we're getting a good turnout.
It definitely does sound like you're getting a good turnout. How far do you actually march?
So for those who are a little worried that it's a long walk or a long undertaking, it's a fairly short walk, fairly short march. We try to keep the whole program about 30 to 45 minutes. So whatever you've got going on your Sunday, you can still get to. You've got the baseball games, your kids, you just want to get the show in the afternoon. We start at 9:30. We're usually done around 10:15. We do a small program where we read the names of the hostages. We walk a little under a mile. So
okay. Because I was looking at your 9:30 start time and 30 to 45 minutes. It does leave the afternoon and everything open. I'm sure a lot of people hang around, talk, discuss what's going on.
So what type of program do you do?
Yeah, so I'll kind of address both of those. Yeah, we have people who talk at the beginning and talk at the end. It's a great community get-together. In the beginning, I just like the march. I like that we were bringing awareness to this, but kind of one of the ancillary effects is really it's a great opportunity for the whole community to come together, people from different walks of life, different religious denominations, to interact in a way they might not have otherwise. So our program, we just read the name of the hostages, we say a few prayers, we'll talk about one of the hostages in particular, because we found reading the names of those who are being held captive is meaningful and does a lot to bring recognition and to remind us who's there. Learning a little bit more about each of the hostages, one every week, has really brought it home and put faces and stories to the names that we read out.
Right.
So it's a short program, takes about 10 minutes, and then we do the rest of the march, which takes another 25 minutes, 20 minutes or so.
No, I think that's really nice. It's a real personal touch that you bring to it, so that they're, we say hostages, it makes it a little abstract, but when you start, giving their names, a little biography about them, like you said, it really brings it home, makes it real, something that people can digest and, go on to think about. Now, all these hostages, of course, are from the United States. Or are you doing everybody from all the countries?
So, like I said, there are 8 American hostages. 8 American citizens are still being held hostage in Gaza. And like I said before, they don't get enough recognition, definitely from our politicians. It gets lost in the broader debate about, the Israel-Gaza war, and definitely a broader discussion about what's going on in the Middle East. But there are still 8 Americans being held hostage, and so we've done one a week. We've done a focus on the Americans who are being held captive, to bring those stories to light. Because we are in America. We for the march, we wave flags, and about half the people have American flags, half the people have Israeli flags. For bringing
So
home.
when you get everybody there, is there a sense of whether or not they think we in the United States are not doing enough, or are we doing what we can?
There's always room to do more, and it's a nonpartisan effort. So I'm going to avoid.
I was hoping that's why I asked you the question. I was hoping that you would say this is more of a nonpartisan thing, because I think that's how you get people there.
Yeah, it's definitely a nonpartisan thing. I don't take account of who's Republican, who's Democrat. I would guess we probably have about half, and most people are just kind of independent and are worried about the hostages. There's always more you can do. Fundamentally, we're dealing with a terrorist organization. Hamas, the terrorist organization that started this, has been on the terror list as long as the U.S. has had one. They want to destroy Israel. They want to eliminate all the Jews from Israel. It's tough dealing with an organization that wants to. And
that organization has got two groups that basically are caught in the middle. You got the Israelis and the Palestinians that don't really have no control over what really is going on over there, and they're caught in the middle.
I mean, that's a fair point, right? There are a lot of Palestinians who just want to live a happy life. They want to, be able to better themselves, better their situation for their families. And, every couple of years, Hamas does, they're launching missiles every day into Israel. It happens all the time, barely makes the news if it does at all. But every couple of years, they do something big. They start a war with Israel. And all those people, all the Palestinians who live in Gaza, who just want a better life for their family and a safe life for their family, like you said, they get caught in the middle also.
Yeah, it all falls on them. How many other organizations like yours are here in the state and active? Any idea?
And there are a bunch of different organizations active in different ways. I know there are two other marches in the state, I think one in Clinton and one in Fairfield, but I don't remember offhand. We do it as part of this organization, larger umbrella organization called Run for Their Lives, which organizes around 210 of these around the world. Some marches down in South America, in Germany, you see them in Asia, I think in Thailand I saw them. So they do marches like these all around the world for organizations that do work on Israel issues. And there are a few. There's the Jewish Federation, which does work on Israel issues, and the Jewish Federation of Greater Hartford also provides us grants for security. Unfortunately, doing something like this, there are people who
we understand.
So there are people who want to harm us, and people willing to cause problems, and so we have to pay security so that everyone feels safe coming. I mean, my kids come. I've got a 3.5-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. When people bring families, they bring dogs, they bring their kids, elderly people. So we want to make sure anyone can feel safe. So we do have security. So we we receive these grants from the Federation, which is one of a number of organizations that do things similar to this. But as far as I know, us and the two other marches in the state are the only ones doing something like this.
No, they're all peaceful, right? I mean, you guys haven't had any issues, right?
Well, we did have someone who had psychological issues, who's been a problem in the area around West Hartford, hassled a few Jewish community organizations. Yep. But short of that, we haven't had any serious issues.
Okay. Another question: have you got any of our state senators or representatives to join you on any of this?
So the local state senator in the West Hartford area, Derek Flapp, has joined us. We've had interest from our local representative, Jillian Gilchrist. We reached out to a few others and haven't heard, we've heard some interest, but haven't been able to firm anything up.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you're getting some support. Nothing from the governor or anything like that?
No, we've put out some feelers. We'd love to have any state legislators, local legislators who'd like to come. As I said, we get 80 to 100 people, sometimes more than that. So it's a good audience. It's a quick march. It's we really focus on the hostages.
Yep.
Bring the hostages home. We avoid partisan messages, and we keep it straight about the issues. So we'd love to have any legislators who understand the issue, understand the importance to not just the Jewish community, but the Americans, all the Americans in Connecticut who are worried about the American hostages who aren't being brought home.
Well, I think you make a good point there because everybody in this state or country and around the world should be interested and concerned about terrorist organizations, wherever they may be, taking hostages. And like you were talking about the Palestinians, they have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of their own happiness. And to be governed by a terrorist organization's got to make it tough.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I'm no expert, but I think probably the best thing for the prosperity and happiness of the individual people who just want a better life living in Gaza is to probably have a government that isn't a terrorist organization.
I think most of them would like that.
Yes.
It's a different world when you get to the Middle East. You know that than what it is here, and most people don't understand that. They're set up different.
Everything's
so
different.
Regimes like this, especially when they're got an influx of money coming from other countries. They're set up and they take over countries like this, and it's the poor people in between that are getting hurt on this.
Now, have you done anything trying to raise money to get aid packages to these people, or things like that? Have there been ransoms? Put out on these people or anything like that? Of course, that the media isn't talking to us about.
I haven't heard anything in terms of like ransoms or asks for money. I think, Hamas is a terrorist organization. They have political goals. They want to destroy Israel.
Yep.
They've said what they want to do to get the hostages back, which is Israel to, stop trying to destroy them, which is, hard to do when Israel thinks about October 7th. And, a lot of that's like very challenging. And, fundamentally, like there isn't a lot that Hamas thinks that's good for them that Israel can do responsibly. So we have done not through our organization, but some of the other Jewish organizations I mentioned, some of the other organizations around the state do send care packages. They help the families, especially some of the towns that were destroyed, demolished on October 7th in that terrorist attack where 1,200 people were killed. Horrible atrocities were committed. A lot of this little community around Connecticut, thankfully, is mobilized, and the community around the United States and around the world is mobilized to help rebuild the communities, both spiritually and physically, after what they went through on October 7th.
Right. Okay, so let's see if I got this straight. 9:30 Sunday mornings at Bishop's Library in West Hartford. Now, that's right at Bishop's Corner? Or?
Yeah, Bishop's Corner Library.
Bishop's Corner Library. Sunday mornings, 9:30 for a 30 to 45-minute march. You have speakers available, and everybody's invited. So we're going to put that out to people. If you'd like to go and join this and be part of it, it's right there.
Yeah, so. Bishop's Corner Library, like I said, West Hartford, 9:30 every week, just like you said. You nailed it. If anyone wants more information, they can reach out by email, greaterhartfordforisrael@gmail.com. So we'd be happy to get anyone on board, give anyone information that they need to come.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to share with us?
No, just thank you again for having me on. We encourage everyone to come out. Again, this is a whole community effort. Anyone from around any corner of the state, we'd love to have you. And just thank you again for your time, and thanks for hearing me out.
Not a problem. Thank you very much. And, we appreciate your dedication, your sacrifice and time. So, I'd say keep up the good work.
Thanks so much, guys.
All righty. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Well,
you want to go to break and then come back?
Sure.
Let's go to a break and we'll be right back.
Welcome to the backside of the Republic Forum.
I'm the front, Tom, and you're the back.
Yeah, all right. Anyway, somebody's got to bring
that
something up.
Yeah,
all right.
Open that up.
We're not going there. But anyway, it's always fun to open
going back
up
to our speaker that called in on the phone. The idea of what he's doing, I'm 100% behind.
Absolutely.
I think you got to keep the names out there. It's not only the Americans, it's everybody else.
Correct.
But I don't want to miss the point that this is not just the people of Israel. These are people from Palestine
Palestinians.
that are just caught in the middle of this because their country was overtaken by a terrorist organization. I think we all know that.
Agree.
And they're getting bombarded. A lot of them are getting killed.
Yep.
And I don't believe that they were the ones, or they voted to go across to Israel and do what they did. It was Hamas. Mm-hmm. And, these people just want the same thing that Israelis want. They want their own piece of land. They want their own life. But they haven't had good people running their countries, to be honest with you.
It's true,
because the ones that were running it were allowing Hamas to do what they were doing.
Correct. And
Okay. But I feel sorry for them because there's, I want to say millions, but there's hundreds of thousands of them that have died.
Oh, sure.
Okay? They're just caught in the middle of this
right.
terrible thing.
And they've been bombed back into the Stone Age, and they, can't get the supplies and things they need.
But it is a different world, Jeff, than here.
Believe me.
I mean, I always say this to people. We live in the best country that you could ever live
Absolutely.
in. You live next door. You can have Muslims, Christians, atheists, and most people still get along.
Yeah, absolutely.
They go to their churches. They do what they want. And they say hi as neighbors. I mean, most of them.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Where you go over there and you got different religious beliefs, you got to watch out for yourself.
Oh, you've got to be aware, a lot more aware of
it's
what's
a different
going on.
world. And I really, for me, Hamas, I think they really thought by doing what they did, they knew Israelis were going to attack. There was no other way. We would be attacking if they did that to us, right?
Well,
so they're looking for the holy war.
Yeah.
And they were hoping that Egypt and all these other countries over there were going to join behind them and go.
I don't think they want to get involved.
And it's probably stopping it is our military that's over there.
Oh, sure.
And which is a good thing. I mean, at least our men are not completely in harm's way. You can't say that they're not because they have fired on our ships.
Oh, absolutely.
But just like what we were talking about when you go over to the Ukraine and Russian. I mean, they're fighting their war over there.
Correct.
And there's no Americans unless there's some volunteers that are
volunteers.
But there's no American
there
soldiers
might be advisors
that are over there fighting a war.
Yep.
Okay. But for me, I worry more about over in the Middle East because this is it's a very religious thing over there.
Oh, it's been going on since the Crusades.
Yeah.
So, you're absolutely
going on
right.
Before that.
But, the other thing, too, is whether it's Ukraine or Israel, I think the United States really needs to be behind these two countries because you know what? They're fighting a war, and we always talk about the Houthis and these people being proxies for Iran.
I don't think that we're behind. I think we have been behind.
Oh, I'm
both
sure.
Israel and Ukraine. Okay, I think that our president right now is stuck in the middle of something. We have people in this country that also want to see the killing stopping of Palestinians.
Oh,
okay. Because to be honest with you,
I think
it has gone on. I mean, I think Israel has proven their point, but I also probably understand that they in their thinking, they think they can wipe out Hamas, and if they can wipe them out, then it's actually saving the world. A problem, and probably saving the United States people a problem.
Well, absolutely.
But how many people are going to, in order to get that done, how many more people are going to die over this?
That's a question.
And that's really, I think, when you're in the United States and you're trying to broker a deal, this is the hard piece because this isn't two countries that are just thinking of it as it's a different war than Moscow and the Ukraine.
Correct.
And I just don't know how you're going to. I don't know how. I don't care who is president right now. With this happening, how you think this is going to happen?
Yeah, it's
that we're going to control it completely.
Oh, we can't. We can't. But the other thing too is we have to be thankful that our sons and daughters aren't over there.
Yeah.
And if we can, keep that from happening. Sending troops in, I think we should do everything.
But I can hear some of the people thinking that are listening to us that are sitting. Well, if Trump was in, that wouldn't happen. Listen, I don't care who the president was. They don't care. Over there, they don't care.
Did you notice I did not
You did,
bring
but
that up?
I've heard it from other people.
Right. So who's got to get political on this?
It's
You.
me. But
Yeah.
I'm saying it that way because I don't think whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or independent, whoever's in office, you weren't going to stop this. This is something that was boiling. It's going to. If it didn't happen now, it was going to happen in the future because it's just all they think over there is about having their own land, and a lot of those countries don't care for Israel.
But,
they don't think Israel belongs there.
When your Constitution says that you're supposed to wipe them off the earth, and get rid of all the infidels, which is us.
Yep. But remember, it's not just Israelis. They don't believe in Christians or anything else.
Nope.
So I mean that's why I say when you sit there and yes, we have people that come from all different countries. Why? Because we are the greatest country in the world. You can live here, and we all know that there's problems. Don't get me wrong with that. But most people can live side by side with their neighbors and have a decent living, no matter who they are.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you don't get that in other countries.
No. So I'm going to switch a gear and bring us back home. Haven't seen any movement in Hartford on the electric going on?
I saw a couple of statements that by just calling a special session, I think this came out of the governor's office, was just not going to fix the problem. The problem needs to be fixed between Eversource and the government together.
Yep.
And it's just his thinking, it's just not the politicians. So just by calling a special session and throwing some money at it is, in the long run, isn't going to fix it.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's true or not, but I will say this to you. If they had the extra money, there's a lot of people out there in fixed income that can't afford this.
Right. So, maybe one of the solutions going forward,
even if it's a little bit of a Band-Aid, right?
Yeah.
I think something's got to happen. But it doesn't seem to be a big cry from the Democratic side to get into a special session now.
They control
I'm hearing it
all.
from the Republican side because you can see they're on the news all the time, and it's a big political spot for them, which I don't blame them because you can use it. But I don't hear it from the Democratic side. I've heard it from a couple of politicians that, they think it should happen, but you're not hearing that cry of them saying to their governor, we need to have a special session.
Yeah.
Maybe some of them around should start pushing that idea.
I think so, especially with it being an election year. I think, a lot of them are going to open themselves up to the questions, why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you more interested in your constituents? And this and that, they're on hard times. And
I'm sure there's
there's a group,
a defined number that they owe Eversource, right?
Yep, probably.
Okay, so
but 4 years.
So let's just say there's this defined number that the government owes that we're all paying for. So what happens in 10 months if that number's not hit?
Well, it keeps
Do
going.
we just keep going?
Yeah, well,
because since we got our last bill, I can tell you, I shouldn't say me, my wife, I can tell you, has shut every light off when we're not doing the light I used to leave on the front of the house at night is off. We've cut back on the air conditioners, everything else in the house because they're hitting you on what your bill is.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So if we're all doing that,
right,
that means they're not getting the money that they were getting.
Right.
So how long does this thing go on for?
Well, that's going to be a good question, and that's going to, really tell us where our legislators are as far as protecting the citizens. I mean, we gave them 10 months. If they can hit their goal, great. If they can't, well,
I don't want to wait 10 months because, again, I'm going to sit there and say this as a taxpayer. I did not. There was no vote by me to allow this to happen.
Or for them to
and I don't remember
for 4
our
years.
State reps and senators in each of our districts coming out and having a meeting with everybody and saying, hey, what do you think?
Yeah.
Okay, about this.
Well, we have somebody in this town that really doesn't care what you think.
Well, it's not just this town, and I don't sit there and say they don't care, Jeff. I mean,
yeah, they do.
Everybody's got a different political side here, but take the politics out of this. This is about a bill that somehow the legislative government told Eversource for 4 years you can't shut anybody off, and they knew they were going to have to pay the bill. So every legislator who voted yes for this knew at some point.
Oh,
now
the
you
bill
can
was gonna
play.
come due.
You can play the dumb game and sit there and say, I didn't realize how much it was going to be because when I voted for this 4 years ago,
Right.
but you're responsible.
Oh yeah.
I don't care who you are, what side of the aisle on, you're responsible
If
for
you
this.
if you
because
voted for it,
how in the world do you think it's okay for people to have to pay an additional $100 to $200 a month out of their bills when everything else has gone up in this world?
well,
And if you got a surplus, what's the best way to take care of this? These are one-time payments, right? If it's
Yep.
a 10-month thing, it's a one-time payment. Take the money out and pay it.
Yep.
And pay it.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
it can't be good for business.
Well, it's just
Either.
just a form of taxation without representation. We can boil it down, make it that simple. They're just taking money away from us because of a policy they enacted that a lot of us don't agree with. Now, one of the things I think they should do is come out and say, you know what? Take that money that's for the public benefits, and you can use it as a tax deduction on your income tax. I think that would be something that's worthwhile to every homeowner.
100% write-off.
Yeah, 100% write-off. Write it off.
I'll go along with that.
Well, yeah, they'd owe me money at the end of the year.
I'll go along with that.
But,
every bit of these two bills that I'm paying,
Yep.
I don't like to pay the $3 bill for those electric cars.
No.
Okay, but I'm going to leave that off to the side. It's the other two. It's the Eversource bill and keeping the nuclear power plant open.
Okay.
Okay, those two things there. The state, just like we have done in the past on certain tax breaks for bringing in a company or something to do something, you give them a tax break for 3-5 years, and each year it goes up until they redo whatever
Correct.
they're doing. Okay, we've done that in our town.
Oh, sure.
Now that's something they could have done there, but you got that figured out. What those taxes you're missing, so you're billing people for that during that year.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't hurt as much as you're waiting 4 years later.
No. But,
But I also think Eversource could cut back a little bit of that
Oh,
bill because they're making millions of dollars too.
well, once some of the issues there is there's no competition.
Yeah.
I'm a big free market person. I wish there were more people. Now, I'd like to know what Norwich Utilities is doing. Are people in Norwich that buy electricity?
Well,
are they
speaking
getting
of that, I can find that answer out for you for next week because I have a guy that I'll be seeing in a little while that used to be on that commission
Yeah,
there, and
okay.
he lives in Norwich, and I can ask him that
Yeah,
question.
because we know United
Being that-
Illuminating is
Yep.
is doing it, but there are other little generators around the state. I wonder if they're getting this, being able to do the same thing.
Yeah.
But one of the things with Eversource and the nuclear power plant down there is they supply electricity to 50% of the state. How do you close or let something like that close, and the lights go off to 50% of the people? It is a sticky
Don't you
situation.
think that Eversource or whatever business you're in, that you're putting into whatever you believe you're going to make, you're going to put in that you're going to have some losses?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, because that's how you build your price up
it's
of
a
what you're
business.
charging people.
But-
this is why I don't understand how Eversource could
Well,
get the deal that they did. And again, I said this last week. I'm not blaming Eversource for
No.
this.
No, you
Eversource is a business. They went in. It wasn't them. It was the state that came back and said, "We'll do this."
Right. Well, how many times have we talked about? We have a severe storm, winter, spring, summer, fall. And people are without electricity for 3 days, a week, 2 weeks, maybe longer, depending on where they are.
Do you get a credit back?
And no, but I don't incur the bill.
No, but still, there's trouble of that. You lived out through your life. You had to go get a generator. Does Eversource give you money back for
no,
that?
but should they be liable for that? I mean, what do you get in life that's an absolute guarantee except death and taxes? Should people be better prepared for things like this, especially when we know something's coming?
It's hard to look, Jeff. At certain income levels,
Oh,
it's
no, I
easier to
understand.
prepare for things where a majority of your people that live below a poverty line, it's tough. There's no doubt about that.
I agree with you. I know it's tough, but when we mandate them to, they've got to be able to have everybody turned on in 3 days, or this, that, or the other thing. I know people that work high lines and this and that, and they'll pull crews from all over the country, and they get paid to sit there and wait to go out. And if nothing happens, they go back, and they've been paid.
Yeah.
And things like that. So, that adds to the bills and things like that. So, I kind of look at some of that.
I guess I would feel bad for Eversource or companies like that if I sat there and saw that they were, not making any money with doing all of that, and they're in the hole. But when they're still sitting there year after year, giving people bonuses and raises on the toppest level.
Yep.
That's the peak. It's just like when you talk about hospitals. Take the Wyndham. I mean, all the stuff that they've done to do the cutbacks and everything, and what are they paying the top individuals? And then they give them raises. Then they turn around and give them bonuses. That's where people, to me, we get ripped off. Well, the middle income people get ripped off.
Somebody's got to be able to make the decisions, the hard, difficult decisions, and lots of times it takes somebody with a lot of intelligence and I'm going to use the word guts to do it.
Yeah, that's why I said, do you think this would have been a good PR for Eversource to come back maybe last week after all this stuff hit, and they got some bills, money in? Then they could have sat around and said, something? The people of Connecticut, you're right. Your politicians came up with this deal, and you're right. We're going to eat it.
Well,
we're going to eat it. Okay? And they would have made every politician look bad, wouldn't they?
And you know what? They're going to have another chance when the end of this 10 months is up. If they haven't got everything they wanted to get back.
I hope they do it before.
Well, I agree with you. But if they don't get it all back, they can say, you know what? We came up short by this number, and we're going to let it go. And then push it on the politicians. But hey, listen, to everybody out there, we got the Woodstock
Fair is this weekend. Hey, Molly Hatchet Saturday night, and I believe it's Casey and Sunshine Band on Monday. And then the following week, we even got a bigger fair, the Hebron Fair.
Hebron Fair. So, hey, have a great...
all faired out.
Get out there, eat your fried dough, have your corn dog. Have a wonderful time until next week. Good night and God bless.